Hey guys, this is Echo Soundworks and you're checking out a Serum tutorial on ADSR sounds. So this video, we're going to make a effect sound. It's one of, in my opinion, the most useful effects you can have in your arsenal, especially if you are an EDM, hip-hop, pop producer. It's a great transitional effect, and it is this sub-frequency kind of glitched down sound. Sounds like this in isolation. And to hear this, you're most likely going to have to be at least on headphones or your reference monitors. If you're on laptop speakers, you may not be able to hear this tutorial. So just a quick disclaimer. All right, let's listen to it in the context of this build. All right, so it's helping me get into a drop of a song. I think it's cool. I like it. It's a little bit louder than I'd have in the mix, just so you can hear it. But we're gonna recreate that sound in Serum. Now, I like using Serum for the sound, this type of sound, for a few reasons. The first is that you have just the huge plethora of sounds to choose from for your noise oscillator, and you can actually choose kick sounds, which helps for this specific sub frequency. Adds a little bit of like attack and tick to the sound. The second reason I like doing this in Serum is because the LFOs are very easy to use. You can change the length of how long the glitch down or the actual pitch moving down effect you hear. You can control that by a bar rate of 1 bar, 2 bars, 3 bars, whatever you need it to be. Now this is helpful to do in a synth as opposed to sample, because then you're sample based, because then you're not time stretching and actually getting aliasing and artifacts. You're just doing it in a synth, and I think Serum's a very capable one for this. So I have a new instance of Serum pulled up. It's not going to sound good right now. What we're going to do is load up a sine wave, because anything sub-oriented is going to have a sinusoidal element. So you can load up the analog BD sine, or I'm just going to go to basic shapes, and the first one is sine. If you go through the wavetail positions, you'll get things like saw, triangle, all that. So we'll keep it on sine. Now, this is going to be kind of hard to hear, so I'm going to play it up on my keyboard right now. You know, it's a sine wave. We're going to tune this down 3 octaves. So we want this to be in the sub range, right? And we're not going to touch the detune, blend, phase, any of that. Just might turn the volume down a little. Now let's go to our noise, and we're going to choose the second kick attack. So I'm going to turn on the, enables the one-shot mode. So we're going to turn that on. So there it is. It's going to add just this little tick to the sound. So bring back in the oscillator. There is the sound. Now I am going to end up filtering this with the low pass 12 filter, but if I do that right now, I'll take out too much of the sound. So I'm just going to turn it on, make sure I route oscillator A and the noise oscillator into it, and just turn down the cutoff a little so I can still hear the sound. All right, so let's move on to the envelopes. Now the first envelope is controlling the sound right now that you hear. So we're going to change this a little bit. We're going to keep the attack, actually we're going to boost the attack up. We're going to go to about 8.7 milliseconds. So don't go as high as it just did. My mouse just stuck. 8.1, 8.5, anywhere in there should do nicely. So we'll do 8.1. And then for the hold, we're going to keep it 0. The decay, you don't have to touch. The sustain, keep it 0 decibels. And the release, we're going to turn up to about 191 milliseconds or around there if you can get close. All right, 189 should do the trick. So now the sound will be like this. All right. Now let's go to the second envelope, and we're going to use this to modulate the cutoff filter to add a little bit of kind of snap to the sound, because anytime you make any type of sub frequency, you're always fighting this battle of making it present and making it pop out in the mix, especially if it's an 808. But you also have to make sure that it's clean, because if you have a sub that's too gritty and there's too many harmonics over the fundamental, it kind of loses its whole sub appeal. So what we're going to do is we're going to create a really short kind of plucky shape with this envelope. So the decay we're going to turn down to about 115 milliseconds or around there. 116 should do. The release we're going to turn up to about 40, and the sustain we're going to turn down to 0. So you get this weird shape here. Now the hold you can keep where it is, the milliseconds you can keep, or the attack you can keep where it is. So release around 40, 115 milliseconds, and you should get this type of shape right here. Now to have this affect the sound, we're going to modulate the cutoff filter a little bit. So, all right, so if I turn that off, back on. All right, again, now I don't have the filter set where I'm going to when the sound is all said and done, because I still need to be able to hear it, but that is a start. All right, so we have the oscillator going, we have the noise oscillator going, we have the envelope 2 modulating the filter cutoff a little bit. Now we need to actually set up the pitch down effect, and to do that, we're going to use the LFO. So click on LFO 1, and what you're going to do here is you're going to check envelope mode. So it'll actually work like an envelope as opposed to an LFO. Now we want the BPM and anchors selected, so it's synced with our BPM, and the anchor means it's going to restart as it replays. It's going to be synced to the position. And what we're going to do here is we're going to turn the rate now to a bar. This is the cool part. So if this is basically 37 to 38, that's a bar, right? If I wanted it to be 2 bars, I could choose that as 2 bars, and then it would do this pitch down effect over 2 bars instead of 1. That's why I like using Serum for this. So with the rise, delay, and smooth, don't touch any of those. What you do need to do is reshape your LFO. So we're going to click on this very top of the triangle, drag this up all the way, and then you're going to bend this little node downwards so you get this shape. And what we're going to do is we're going to modulate the coarse pitch of the sound. So I'm going to go to the matrix for that because it's a little bit easier to show you how to do it. You can drag and drop this crosshair right here, but we're going to, we'll drag and drop it. But what we're going to do is, if you want to see on the actual crosshair, I guess I'll do it this way. I just held down Option, Alt, depending on your PC or Mac, and Shift and click. And now it's modulating in a positive depth only as opposed to a bipolar where it's going in both. So let's go to the matrix and dial this in. So we want it to say coarse pitch here for our oscillator A, and we want it to be LFO 1. Now the amount that we're going to choose, we want it to be 19. So it should basically be there by default when you drag it in. Now what this is going to do, let's listen to the sound. There it is. It glitches down in pitch now. All right, so let's turn on this, let's turn down the filter now. All right, so there is the sound. Now I'm going to go to my effect matrix or the effects track, and I'm going to turn on the distortion because adding a little bit of distortion to your sub sounds can be cool. I'm going to choose diode 1. I'm going to do off for the EQ. Now the drive amount, we don't want it to be too high. I don't want it to sound like a hard style type bass. We're going to go maybe a shade under 10%. A little bit crazy right now, right? So let's turn down the mix. All right, that's kind of cool. And we'll do a little bit of reverb and EQ just for kicks and giggles, and I'll put these all right under each other. So for the reverb, what we're going to do is you don't want too big of a size, just a little bit of space because this is a sub frequency. The pre-delay, I'm going to turn down. The low cut, going to turn up just a pinch. The damp and high cut, you can do all this to taste. The mix, I'm going to turn down to about 7%. We'll go 12%. And then turn the size up a little. All right, and then finally the EQ. What we're going to do here is we're going to boost a little bit of the low frequency. So we're going to set the frequency to about 210 hertz, which should be where it is by default, so you don't have to touch it. The Q factor, we're going to make sure it's around 60%. And then the gain, we're going to just bump up. So we just boosted the lows, and now we're going to just take out a little bit of the highs. All right, now we can go back to our filter and kind of have that initial pop, and then the sound kind of loses its momentum and energy because of the envelope that we're modulating with. It's that simple. So let me bring back in the sound. We'll loop the little build. All right, and it's one of the, I've used it in so many different productions. I use it pop, hip hop, EDM. It's a cool sound to have. Save it, use it, bounce it to audio if you want. You can actually tweak it. You can load up some different oscillators, things like that. There's a lot of things you can do to make this your own, but this is the foundation type effect of the sound. It is a sinusoidal sub-frequency glitch down effect. All right, guys, if you have any questions or comments, let me know below and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. Again, I'm Echo Soundworks. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time.